Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me this morning. I think I might be a couple minutes late. I was having a little technical difficulties this morning. And so to share this information, one second. Thank you for joining in. I'm going to give you your Monday market update. We're going to talk about getting started owning real estate, building wealth for you and your family. Just give me 2 seconds while everyone else joins us this morning. Goodness. All right, here we go. I think I found it finally. There we go. All right. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Andrea Wilson. I'm a real estate broker here in Northeast Ohio. We work with buyers, sellers, and lots of real estate investors here. So we'd like to provide a lot of great information, tips, tools, getting you started owning real estate, the importance of owning real estate. And so this morning, we're going to review some July numbers for a little bit. I'm going to give you some tips on how you can own real estate. And if you have any questions, please type it in chat. I will be happy to answer any questions you guys have as well. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys. All right, so August, today is August 3rd. We finally made it into the month of August. I can't believe how quickly 2020 is flying by. It has been very eventful, to say the least. Many of you may be experiencing the same thing. And so what we've been seeing in the housing market, especially with when the coronavirus hit, is that there has been a shortage of inventory. With that shortage of inventory in already a low housing market before or right as we were going into the pandemic, we were already having a shortage of inventory. And this is happening across the country where there are more buyers than there are homes that are on the market. There's a couple of reasons that this is happening. Number one, builders building new construction, they had slowed down production for many years when the housing market had crashed, and it never really recouped from that time frame. You have sellers who are just now starting to see values starting to go up on their property where it would make sense for them to sell their home and not having to do a short sale. And then we have the largest generation, the millennials, who are coming through and now starting to be in a position ready to buy. And so they are hitting the market, ready to purchase homes. So we have that. So for many owners, they are seeing multiple offers going in on their properties, and it's even over the asking price of the home that they were looking to get. So it's causing a lot of momentum activity going on in the marketplace. So the number of home sales for the month of July we were right at 1,939. Now these numbers may adjust a little bit because we're only at the August 3rd. It takes a few days for the system, the MLS, to completely update, for all of the data to really close out. But as of today, this is where the numbers are. So the number of home sales were at 1,939. The average sale price for a home what is 195,955. And then we have new listings at 2,531, which is an increase from what we saw in June. And then the average days on market is 49. So that with the average days on market being at 49, that dropped it a little bit lower than what we were seeing. Prior months, it was right at about 55 days was the average day on the market. And you may say, well, I thought you said that homes are going very quickly. And so you have to remember this is an average, taking all of the inventory that is on the market. The homes that are in really good condition, those homes are going in some cases within 24 hours of hitting the market. In fact, what's happening is a lot of people are getting upset because they're going so fast. Last week, I was on a call with the superintendent of our Ohio real estate division of real estate, and she was saying that they are seeing a spike in the numbers of complaints of people feeling like their offer was not presented to the owner. So usually that really happens in markets like this because a home is going so quickly. Agents are submitting offers for their clients. And some sellers, they have the right to do so to only want to look at that first offer or only one offer. And so because of that, it's going so fast, people are starting to feel like, well, maybe my offer was not presented to that seller. So if you are seeing a home that you really like, you don't want to wait to move forward on it. You definitely want to make a decision. Whether or not you want to pull that trigger, especially if it's like you're like, this is the one, this is the home that would work best for me and my family. So these numbers break down Cuyahoga County. If you're not familiar with Cuyahoga County, that is kind of like Cleveland and those surrounding suburbs. In that area is the area, the coverage area that we're looking at this morning. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. So next, I want to just talk about how you can own real estate, the first piece of real estate. So I want to take a look at savings, right? This is so important when we think about buying real estate is that planning stage and looking at how much savings that you need to purchase a home. So this picture here is from Bankrates. This is from 2019 data, May of 2019, and it's saying that most Americans lack savings. And how much money do you have saved in account? And this is the question that was asked. It shows that 32% of Americans say they have zero savings. That's that darker orange. 32% is saying that they do not have any savings. 26% and less is saying that they have less than $1,000 of savings, right? And then 15% is saying that they have between $1,000 and $499 in savings. And so when you look at this chart and in comparison to, the total population, most Americans do not have any savings. So one of the things that we need to think about, especially when buying real estate, is what can we do? How can we start putting money away in your savings account? If COVID-19, I know I sound like a broken record from time to time because I'm always bringing up COVID-19, but it's so relevant to what we can see, the problems, or what could happen. It has happened. We oftentimes about what could happen. It has happened. It's shown us that we all need to focus on our savings. Even if you're in one of these other categories and you have savings, COVID-19 has even shown those individuals that we need even more savings. We need to increase that. What we thought we needed, we need to have a little bit more. Because when things like a pandemic hit and your job shuts down, you can't rely on anyone else to save you, not the government, not your job. It all falls on you. So you have to have enough savings in your account. I don't know, 3 months, 6 months. We're still facing threats of a shutdown here in the US, particularly Ohio, due to COVID-19. And it's been such a rocky year up and down. If you don't have enough money saved, and if your job is one of those that shuts down, is not deemed as one of those essential businesses, it can put you into a hardship. So you don't need 20% to purchase a house. Maybe we'll talk about that in a second. But overall, you do not need 20% to purchase a home. A FHA loan, you can have 3.5% down. But on average, you really want to plan to at least have anywhere between 5 to 10% in terms of purchasing a home. The thing that you want to focus on when we all get paid, you get a check, we have a habit of rushing to pay our bills. You pay all of your, your light bills, your car notes, maybe your rent. If you don't already own a home, we pay all of our bills first without paying ourselves first. We need to reverse that. We need to make sure that we're paying ourselves first. And by doing that, that is putting money into your savings account. Maybe your check is running really, really lean. And so by the time you pay your bills, you usually have little to no cash extra. Even if it's $20, you want to make sure that you're taking at least $20 from your check, putting it into a savings account first, and then paying your bills from all of that. Because what we often do, we pay our bills, we deplete those funds, and then we do a little entertainment, doing some shopping or whatever, and then we didn't put any money away for our future. That future is for buying a home, any emergency expenses, just being prepared for the future. If at all possible, you want to try to look to just have an emergency fund anywhere from 3 to 6 months. It can seem overwhelming at times when you think about what 3 months, maybe your monthly expenses is about $5,000. So if you're looking at $5,000 times 3, that's $15,000. And so when you look at it at a standpoint of $15,000, that may be a bit overwhelming of thinking that you will never get there. So you back into that. You start at about 1 month of savings, or maybe just looking at as $1,000 at a time. The other thing that you want to do is put that savings account at a bank that you don't have direct access to. That direct access tends to have you dipping into it a little more frequently than you like. Have you ever had cash in your pocket and it seems like the minute you have actual cash, you're holding on to cash, the universe just sends someone or something to you that seems to be emergency, and that cash flies out of your pocket. Some type of emergency always pops up. When you put your money into somewhere maybe like a credit union, where you have to jump through hoops to access that money, by the time you're maybe able to reach it, the need is not there any longer. For me, I put money savings away. I have a credit union. I don't have a debit card. I don't have online access. I just literally set my credit union up in my regular checking account, banking, and I set myself up as a bill pay. And each time I move money through the bill pay over to my credit union account for my savings. So if you are thinking about purchasing a multifamily home, many of you are interested and want to get started investing in real estate. And so that multifamily route is maybe the way for you to go. In order for you to do that, in many cases, you're going to need between 20 to 25% down if you are looking at a multifamily home. So I will say, there have been some real changes coming out recently. And I'm going to be doing a video on that as well, with those changes, the way that lenders will look at that rental income that comes into the property, how that's going to impact you guys. But investing in a multifamily unit is a great way to really get your feet wet into that investor market, because it allows you to live in one unit and collect rent from those other units to help offset some of your expenses, maybe even cover your mortgage for you so you can live rent free or mortgage free in that case. So, all right. Did you know that 26 wealthiest own as much as the poorest 50%? This is based on 2008 data. Those individuals, most of them, their wealth has since increased since 2008. I want to say that one more time. 26 wealthiest people own as much as 50% of the poorest people. That number 26 is so crazy to me, because that's only 26, but we're talking about 50% of the population. You need to understand how these individuals became wealthy. And so this is very important when you understand what they do first. As I was just talking a few minutes ago about paying yourself first or investing in yourself first, then you move forward and you do things, you purchase those liabilities that you want. So I want to share. So of those rich people, this is how rich people spend their money. They earn the money first, and then they invest it. Then they use the money from those investments to do things like go on vacation, buy their dream home, buy that dream car. The average person, you earn that money, usually from working. You work a 9-to-5 job, you earn that money, it comes in. You spend nearly everything. And we spending that money on your daily bills, paying your mortgage, entertainment. And then from there, there's nothing left over. So you're going in that same cycle over and over again. A 9-to-5 job is just that. It was never designed or meant for you to become rich. It was designed to make someone else rich. You're helping someone else, another owner, generate income for them to become rich, while you continue in this same cycle and pattern. You see, in most cases, we were all taught. I'll give an example for myself. My mother worked in a factory for most of her life. Her last job, where she ended up retiring from, was a pharmaceutical company. So she worked there for most of her job, and she grew up from the mentality is you get up, you go to work every day, and you work all of your life until you can't work no more. Your body is worn out and tired, and now that's when it's deemed as time for retirement. And then you are wondering, do I have enough money for retirement? If you did not put money away for savings, then you're only relying on things such as Social Security to carry you through. And what we know is Social Security is not enough for the quality of life that we are probably used to. So we have to think about that a little bit differently. We have to follow the plan that the rich people use. They earn the money, and then they invest it. They invested in stocks. Those stocks then allow the money that they get back from those stocks. Now they take that money to buy that new car. Earn money, you invest in real estate, and then you can buy that dream home. We often look at buying that dream home first. We want to fill that need or that void inside of us of wanting to show other people that we are living in a good life, have a good lifestyle. So we focus on buying that nice car first, that big home first. We go on elaborate vacations, but we didn't take the time to make sure that we are building for our future and generating wealth. The liabilities, right? So again, you're earning the money, you're buying assets, and then from those assets, then we're spending on those liabilities. It's nothing wrong with wanting the fancy car, the big house, going on vacation, going shopping, and buying those nice things. It's how you structure that. We just have to be a little bit smarter on how we are structuring that and using those assets to pay for all of our liabilities. So invest first, invest in you first, invest in your future, and building that legacy for you and your family. This is kind of a really easy concept because it doesn't take, if we're talking about real estate, and so it doesn't mean that you have to own 5 properties, 10 properties. You can do this by just owning one property. Real estate is that wealth building asset. So in order for you to do things such as invest in real estate, potentially invest in business, not so much investing in stocks, but you need to earn the money first. But definitely in real estate and investing in a business, there's one thing that we need to focus on, and that's our credit. This chart right here is kind of giving you a breakdown of how credit works, how the credit bureaus are scoring you and coming up with your overall score. The 30% is the amount of debt. I'm sorry, I want to really focus on 35%, your payment history. That payment history is going to be the biggest chunk of what makes up your credit score. That 35% is so important. Sometimes you just need to make a few changes on the way that you're paying your bills, and it will jump your credit score for you. So, a few minutes ago, we talked about paying yourself first. So we want to do that. We want to make sure that we are paying ourselves, whether it's $20, $10, $5, $100, it doesn't matter. You want to make sure you pay yourself first. You're putting some money away from savings, no matter every check that you get, you're putting money away from savings. Next, the way that you pay your bills. Every month you may pay a certain amount of bills. In those bills, there's some that are weighted a little different than others. The bills that you pay monthly that get reported to the credit bureau should be the first bills that you pay every month to make sure that you're paying it on time. Your credit card bills, if you do have a mortgage, your mortgage payment, anything that is reporting to the credit bureau, you want to make sure that you pay those. If you have the money to pay all of your bills every month, not a problem. Great. You're making sure that you're paying those bills on time every month. If you run into a scenario, especially coming out of this pandemic, where you may have your hours at work have been cut back, you were furloughed, you're receiving unemployment. So you're trying to maximize your dollars or trying to figure out how to maneuver and stretch your money. The area that you want to focus is for anything that's reporting to the credit bureau. Yes, we want to keep our lights on. Yes, we want to keep the gas on, but your lights and gas do not report to the credit bureau monthly. Now, if it goes into collections, they are going to report to the credit bureaus, but those are not reported to the credit bureaus on a monthly basis. And oftentimes, if you call your light company, if you call your gas company, they will allow for you to make payment arrangements with them. If you want to focus on saving your credit, I'm not saying let your lights get cut off by any means. But sometimes the way money is coming in, we have to make choices to get us through one month to get to the next month where we're waiting on a bigger check to come in. So when that's being done, you want to focus on the items that are reporting to the credit bureaus. The second portion that makes up the biggest part of your credit score is going to be the amount of debt. So you have those credit cards. On those credit cards, you have a credit limit on each card. or whatever it is that you have that's out there. You want to try to reduce that amount. You actually want to get it down to about a 30% utilization. If you have a credit card and it has allows you to charge up to $1,000 on there, and you've maxed that out to $1,000, that is negatively impacting your credit score, potentially. There are some cases, maybe you have other cards that have zero balances and it may not have as much of a negative impact. But in general, if you have a card or a credit extended to you for the max of dollars, and you are at the max of that, that's impacting your credit score. If possible, work to get that down to below 50%. And then, but where you really want to maintain is around 30% of that. So before you can become mortgage ready, these are the things that you want to look at. Those biggest factors: your payment history, the amount of debt, length of credit history. That may not be something that you can necessarily change right away. The one thing that you can do is leaving older credit lines open. Sometimes as you're trying to clear up credit, we're closing out accounts just because we don't want to use it for whatever reason, but that may be hurting you because that was your oldest line of credit, and the creditor is going to look at that. 10% is your new credit, and then another 10% is that credit mix. Okay, stop sharing this. So, overall, in a nutshell, if you want to get to the point of owning real estate, you have to work on building that plan. It's a strategy. I talked a little bit about what rich people do. They have a strategy in place. They buy those assets and they use those assets to cover those liabilities. If you want to get to a point where you are investing in real estate, we have to talk about what that strategy is to get there. Things like credit is very important. Even if you are able to get into the business or get your first property, you're like, well, I made it through. I worked through, I didn't need the credit. Eventually down the line, you're going to need to work on that credit. You're going to need your credit for something. And it's always best to be prepared ahead of time instead of when you need to use your credit, it's not in a good place. And so now you're working from behind trying to get there. So I hope that you guys found this information very useful. Just wanted to kind of break down, give you the first steps. Good morning. Good morning to you, Erica. Thank you for joining me this morning. And for those of you who are also joining in, if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat. I will answer your questions for you. I'm going to you can find me here every Monday morning at 7 a.m. and I'm always going live throughout the week. But at 7 a.m. on Monday mornings, I'm going to focus a little bit more on some wealth building tactics because I get questions all the time about investing in real estate. So I want to dive into this a little bit more to give you guys all of the information or help you build the confidence to get started. If you are not already, please like or share this information. Like or share my page. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button because I pop on here all the time, sharing with you information about real estate. I like to do interviews with local businesses to help support them. Especially that's my commitment during the coronavirus, where I can, help as much as possible to other business owners here in the community. So it's Monday morning, time to get up, time to get going. And so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can reach me at 216-220-7886. Want to wish you guys a wonderful Monday, and thanks for joining in, guys.